So today I have Sagat from Street Fighter, created by Bandai, and I'm showing a little example of the height difference between the smallest Street Fighter character I have, which is Sakura, and Sagat. And this actually understates the difference in size based on the my World Warrior Encyclopedia, which shows Sagat at 226 centimeters, or about 7'4". Well, Sakura is about 5'1", so he would be about 2 feet 3 inches taller than her, and so he would actually even dominate even more. And Bandai has never gone over the top in trying to maintain consistency in height between their various figures. Sometimes this one is actually closer than some of the other ones that are really off, but generally the larger characters are shown as larger and the smaller are shown as smaller. Let me put Sakura off to the side. There is a lot to like about Sagat and a few things to not like. So if you look at him, boy, does he look good. He looks absolutely fantastic. The muscularity, the way everything flows, the facial sculpt, that is amazing. This is probably the most eye-catching of all the Street Fighter figures. So in this case, there are sacrifices to be made for having such exquisite sculpting. And I'll give you an example. So if I lift up his arm here, you could see how it's got this area carved out so that it fits in beautifully. So yeah, it looks fantastic when his arm is down like that and the muscles are all together, but when it lifts up, it's a bit awkward. So that's the sacrifice you make. Plus, because of the sculpting in the shoulders, they couldn't do any bicep swivel. So these are the sacrifices you make. So it's kind of putting him in that neutral stance looks fantastic, but putting him in other stances kind of takes away a little bit. Now, they made they made some, I think, some good decisions and some strange decisions. His boxing shorts, these are separate pieces, and he's got thigh swivel, but it's underneath the pant leg, or the short leg, so it's hidden, and I'm fine with that. So that's pretty cool. A good ab crunch. Now, the thing that they did that I find very strange is in here, this piece. So it's common for figures to have butterfly joints so that the shoulders can move forward and backward, and those are good, but instead of doing that, they put this piece on there. So he could, say, shrug his shoulders and this piece in here moves. My question is, why? Was it worth it? Because to have a little bit more articulation, first of all, you've added a lot of complexity into the design. They don't have a butterfly joint. And now you create a whole bunch of gapping in here. So I don't really understand the thinking of putting this piece in here and then creating this gapping just to get a little bit more range of motion. Also, you can see that the joint in here is very obvious. They didn't put anything on top to hide it. And that's an odd decision, I think. The ankles on here are fine. Everything else looks very good. The arm musculature, the movement of the arms. And this is a bit of an interesting figure in that his head has very little, he has some movement. So you could see he can look up. But this whole neck piece will move. It's hard for me to show. This whole neck piece will move down. And I think that what's cool about that is that as a very tall figure, now he can look down on his opponent. And I think that that's pretty cool. So you could have, let's see if I can do this. You can have him looking down on you. And that's pretty cool. So I think this figure is from Street Fighter 2, probably. He really doesn't change that much. Street Fighter 5, he's got this kind of cloth outfit, but there's other pictures where he looks like the original. So his design has not changed much. If I go on Amazon, so there he is, and he's about $105. So not what I paid, but these figures, well, it does say, actually, I guess it does say Street Fighter 5. Okay. So I guess he's from Street Fighter 5 and doesn't have that green cloak, green whatever. But his design hasn't changed much. And you could see he's got some really nice poses. Very dramatic. This is maybe their best. This is their final Street Fighter figure. And they definitely went out on a high note with this one. And the design, the articulation. Again, they made some strange decisions I don't really understand, but overall, I give this one high marks.